You're listening to Ghostfighter Radio.
Welcome to the Uncooperative Radio Show with Brian Bonner, the finest uncooperative conservative radio on the net. Kicking down the walls, blowing away the smoke screens. You cockroaches, and you know who you are. You can run, but you can't hide. Brian Bonner stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Enemies of America, foreign and domestic, consider yourself on notice. Uncooperative Radio is coming for you.
Brian Bonner from UncooperativeBlogger.com. You're listening to UncooperativeRadio.com. And I'm here with my lovely wife, Susan. Say hello, Susan.
Hello, American Patriot.
All right, what are we talking about this evening?
As always on Thursdays, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Brian will not talk about the convention tonight, kind of, but not. But some voting news, followed by our military heroes, then the Health Buster segment. And since it's the day of the GOP convention, Brian will bring you the political smackdown. Oh, and cause we didn't get to it last show. And in the end, a Second Amendment report, if we get to it.
All right. Well, first, as always, you're starting to turn it into Obama. Every time you tell me I'm not going to talk about something, that's usually what I'm going to end up talking about. So I found that amusing. She's not amused. All right. Time for the pledge. Patriots, hand over heart, face the flag. If you don't have a flag. I pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now it's voter happening now. Why are all things voter? Who votes on these segment names? You pinheads in the back?
I do.
You do? You vote? Where's the other votes? We need some other votes around here. All right. Newsmax. With Florida once again expected to play a critical role in the upcoming presidential election, former Governor and Senator Bob Graham warned Newsmax TV that the nation should brace for the possibility of a strong second act of another hanging Chad like courtesy of the Sunshine State.
I take umbrance to that because we lived in Florida when this happened, and it was fault. It was all the other freaking pinheads came into our state. It was their fault, not the Floridians. They followed the Florida state constitution. They did. It wasn't us.
Must have said it's not going to happen again.
But I'm saying he's blaming Florida. It wasn't us.
He didn't say anything about the people of Florida.
He said courtesy of the Sunshine State. He's blaming Florida.
Okay. She's sensitive. I didn't read it that way. Could have meant it that way. I don't know. I don't care. I already told you all the different states that are going to be in control of a Spanish company who's going to be counting on the electronic machines that can be, hijacked and hacked and virused. It's all been proven. But we're going to hang the election on that. So the Spanish over there, they'll count the votes up and tell you what the tally is. But we're worried about Chads. I think these people have Chads anymore. It's not going to be like that at all. All right, I hope it won't be worse than 2000, but it could second act on 2000, and we don't need that, asserted Graham in an exclusive interview this week. During the 2000 Florida's 25 electoral votes hung in the balance of a recount process and court battle that made it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court before President George W. Bush was declared the winner over former Vice President Al the Green Goblin Gore. The election subsequently will be remembered as one of the most closely contested presidential elections in American history, and a source of it for Florida voters ever since. So this I know this is a TV, but it's radio. They still hear you when you talk to yourself.
I didn't say a word.
You did too. You don't even know you're doing it. she just says stuff all the time. All right, so Graham, who was the headline speaker for the Funding Our Future Research Symposium, sponsored by the Florida League of Cities Center for Municipal Research and Innovation, said that the courts are now threatening to undo the process that has been made in shoring up the state's election process. My concern is that Florida has made a number of changes in its election law since the last presidential election. One of those changes was to reduce the number of days and hours of early voting, which was a Jeb Bush idea that I think was very beneficial to the state, insisted Graham. A federal court has said that it is a violation of the Voting Rights Act to do what the Florida legislature has done because, among other things, it is likely to have the most negative impact on people who are minorities, elderly people, and working people. Oh, they just did this striking down the Texas law, too. Same judges said the same thing.
That's the next article.
Those who have greatest difficulty of getting polls on election day itself, he said. 5 of Florida's 67 counties will be operating to a different set of standards as a result. Let me explain the election law to you. Election law is left to the states. It has nothing to do with federal court. So federal government has nothing to say about state election law. The Constitution clearly leaves that to the states. So why are they opening their mouths? Secondly, there's nothing that says you have to give people extra special consideration because they can't get to the polls. People used to have to walk to the polls, folks, when this started. I'm sorry that they have to get on a bus paid for by our tax dollars to go vote for someone that's going to give them more of our tax dollars. I'm sorry that's such an incredible burden on them. What we face in Florida is the prospect that 5 of our 67 counties who are under the Voting Rights Act have one set of standards, according to Graham, who said that in the other 62 counties, each individual supervisor of election has a wide range of discretion as to what to do. What could once again lead to bedlam in state ballot boxes, he said. We can have 60-plus different systems operating in Florida, and as we learned in 2000, one of the things vulnerable to litigation is if your election is not consistent and equal throughout the state, he explained. As the Republican more immediate threat to the Sunshine State, Tropical Storm Isaac disrupting the GOP convention. Graham said that he is confident conditions are in place. Let's go back to this nonsense that who says that they have to be consistent and equal throughout the state? Who says? The Constitution leaves that power to the states to decide how to run the elections. And if the state decides to allow local governments to make its own decisions based on local concerns, it is an improvement over centralizing the power of the state. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. The bad thing is the unconstitutional federal government stepping in again and saying, oh, hey, wait, it's like that in that county. That's because they don't live in that county, Your Honor. If they did, they'd be using that ballot.
And again, as we continually say on this radio show, if we went back to the Constitution, this would not be a problem because we, the people, wouldn't be voting for the president.
Right. I thought you were going to say something else. What's waving outside that door? Right here.
My towel.
Oh, tell me when you do things like that. I thought a rat was trying to get in. We're being besieged by pack rats. It's all-out war on the mountain.
Yeah, it is.
I've killed a battalion there, and they keep coming.
But anyway, what did you think I was going to say?
Reminds me of the Idrang Valley, for God's sakes. What?
What did you think I was going to say?
About what?
About this, about the hanging chads in Florida and all that. I was going to say that this wouldn't be a problem.
I thought you were going to talk about the local government should be able to do things their own way.
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't affect the federal level because we wouldn't be voting for president. We'd only be voting for our own legislators, and then no one would give us flying fry.
But federal elections are controlled by the states. Clearly stated in the Constitution. Clearly stated that the states would retain it by the states. So I don't see where the federal government has a say in the matter, and nothing under Article 3, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, which deals with the federal courts, gives them even jurisdiction in this matter. So that's the problem. All these unconstitutional, historical behavior has been building upon itself infinitum. Well, but it's a federal election. Yes, that's what the Constitution deals with, federal government. It said no, only times and dates can be set. Only under extreme circumstances can they have any say over elections. But anyway, shush my rooster. I want him to tire out and go to sleep. It's like having a baby run. Shut up. Let him tire himself out, baby. Go to bed. This is really not a problem, but they're making it a problem because the unconstitutional behavior of the federal everything. This is not an issue. If the blind old people want giant ballots, that they get special ballots in their county because they pay property taxes, and they want the giant funny-looking ballots that we think is stupid, then they get the giant funny-looking ballots that they think is stupid. And then if they're too stupid to do that they ask for, that doesn't count. There's people that help you. You ask for the ballot. This is what we agreed upon. Now you're complaining. Too bad. What?
We're just going to bring up more and more of these stories because the feds are going to go after state by state by state because they have the power.
Yeah, I think the federal government telling states and localities that they have to print ballots in foreign language goes beyond ridiculous. Next thing you know, they're going to there's supposed to be Ebonics, or at least there has to be an Ebonic version because the fuzzy muzzies we got to need. You got to have the black people who tried to get Ebonics actually taught in public school, which is amazing to me. Actually, I think white people and some really idiot black people tried to do that. Let's teach what? Okay, that's like saying we're gonna go to England and we're gonna make Cockney an official language in England, so everyone can learn how to speak the Cockney. But I'm just saying, this is all costing money, causing problems, causing lawsuits, causing fraud. Because the more fraudulent it is, just the way it is. And since it's their election, the federal government's election, they weren't supposed to have anything to do with it because they have a vested interest in getting reelected. You see how that works? That's we're in charge of running the elections in the federal government. Don't load things during my show. If I was breaking up during this was apparently my fault for carrying my bandwidth. Stop it. We don't have enough. All right, so she wants me to do this. Listen. Did you hear that? No, you couldn't hear what she did it either. It's radio. It's a rather long thing here, but she wants me to move on. So, poof, we're on to the Fox News one now with Texas. Texas's top attorney told Fox News his state will appeal to the Supreme Court after a federal panel of judges And federal. This is not. The federal court has no jurisdiction. On Thursday, rejected the Texas law requiring voters to present photo IDs before casting a ballot. Oh, the horror. Are you ready for the echo chamber in the judicial system now? Have you ever noticed echo chamber from the progressives? There's an echo chamber in the Democrat Party. There's an echo chamber in the mainstream media. And then the echo chamber that we hear right now from the courts. Texas Attorney Abbott, who is in Tampa for the Republican National Convention, called the ruling deeply disappointing. He said the state is trying to prevent fraudulent voting, claiming, for example, that hundreds of dead people were listed as voting in the state's recent primary. This is actually what happened there? Sorry about that. My screen just jumped 2 pages. All right. Back to it. There. This is actually a national trend where states are trying to do a better job of securing the integrity of the ballot boxes, and yet courts are pushing back against that, seemingly promoting and allowing participation in the election process. This is really dangerous to me. Let me tell you why. Let's say a state just decides to, wake up to the fact the federal government has no jurisdiction and says, go pound sand. This is my constitutional authority. This is my authority as a representative of the sovereigns of my state, and we have decided this is how we're going to run our elections. If you don't like pound sand. Now, the federal government can push court, and then the state could say, I'm not going to court because the federal court has no jurisdiction, and they can go pound sand. Last time I checked, the judiciary was part of the federal government, which we now call the national government because it's no longer federal. Okay. Cause a conflict in the voting. Now, they're not going to count the votes from said state because they didn't follow the directions, and therefore it's a tainted election, and your electorates will not be seated. Sound familiar? Okay. What's the state going to do at this point? They're now telling that whole state, they've disenfranchised, to use the left-wing, liberal, progressive, socialist, commie, fascist, Democrat word, disenfranchise a whole state from voting in election. What do you think that states might do next? That state might be, especially Texas, decide to start talking about secession from the Union. After all, we're right back without representation. You're right back with no representation at all. You got intrusion into your sovereign state powers, penalizing you for their federal authority by this is dangerous. I don't want secession, folks. I want state sovereignty. I want the states to stand up and reassert their constitutional sovereignty, staying with the Union and abiding by all agreed to provisions of the Constitution and when it was ratified. That's not secession. Is we're the country of Texas. That's secession. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I can't believe people aren't sitting back seeing the danger in this. That how far can you push people of a state before they just say, well, it's happened before, go pound sand? And we don't want to get all our marbles and going home because we don't want to play with you. Could happen. Not a good thing. Let's hope my plan happens first. This is actually a national trend where states are trying to do a better job of securing the integrity of ballot boxes. The courts are pushing back. The court decision came down from a 3-judge panel in Washington, D.C. during the same week that South Carolina's strict photo ID law is on trial in front of three-judge panel in the same federal courthouse. A ruling is expected before November's election. Oh, that's nice of them to let us know the election, how to perform our elections. The panel in Texas case unanimously ruled that the law possesses strict, unforgiving burdens for who are often racial minorities. The decision involves an increasingly contentious political issue in the U.S., a push largely by Republican-controlled legislators to strict identification requirements on voters. Republicans say they are voter fraud. Democrats, with support from a number of studies, say voter fraud is largely non-existent and that Republicans are franchise minorities, poor people, and college students. All groups that tend to support Democrats. College students vote in the state of their official residency, not where they go to college. I want to pass those laws. College students should not appeal elections in a state they are just visitors in. If the Texas case, the Justice Department called several of the Democrats who said they detected a clear racial motive in the push for voter ID law. Lawyers to Texas argued that the state was simply tightening its laws. David Tittel, an appeals court judge appointed by President William, I feel your pain, Jefferson Clinton, and writing for the panel, called the Texas law the most stringent in the nation. He said it would impose a heavier burden on voters than a similar law in Indiana, previously upheld by the Supreme Court, and one in Georgia, which the Justice Department allowed to take effect without objection. During an appearance in Texas in July, Eric Holder said the state's photo ID requirement amounts to a poll tax. All of them are saying that they didn't do this anywhere else. They always say this. A term that harkens back to the days of the Civil War when blacks across the South were stripped of their right to vote. This isn't a poll tax, folks, just so you know. I'm tired of hearing ain't got to require people. Next thing you know, we'll have to bus them on our dime to the polls because, God forbid, they should have to stand up. Someone must come pick them up and carry them to the polls. We wouldn't want them to burn off any calories or anything. Oh. Avido said we'll be putting together the paper for appealing the case onto the Supreme Court. Having to take the time to get a photo and bring all your documents together is not your right to vote. Last year, new voter was passed in Kansas, Mississippi, Rhode Island. In addition to Texas and South Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee tightened existing voter ID laws to governors in Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina vetoed strict new laws. Thank you, Governor Schweitzer.
Yeah, he's hard.
This year, Pennsylvania enacted its own law, and voting rights who filed suit in an effort to stop it for appealing to the state Supreme Court. The hearing is scheduled for September 13th in Philadelphia. The Republican of Governor Tom Corbett says a U.S. Justice Department inquiry into the state's tough new voter identification is politically motivated. The department is requesting the state voter registration list plus any database of registered voters who lack a photo ID that the law requires voters to show before their ballots can be counted. My God, of asking people to prove who they are before they do something important like pick the next president of the United States. Why is this so important? Look at the monster we've created. He's the most powerful man in the United States, possibly the world. That's not the constitutional executive branch. That's not in the Constitution. But now we have to deal with it. That's who he is, and he's wielding that, and quite happy to do so. And I haven't seen anybody try and stop him. Just to point out that Congress is doing nothing. Okay, so
bringing more of the
voter ID, what a horror. But it's the way it is. If you haven't figured out yet, the fix is in every election. The Democrats have a certain percentage fix in every election. If it's close, they have the machinery ready election. That's what you saw in 2000. They didn't pull it off. Us pulled it off. They wrote a book. Daley wrote a book about how to steal an election. You can look it up. It's an actual book. They took everything right from that book, How to Steal an Election. And they kept saying the other side was stealing an election again. But why didn't you go, look, it's in the book. He's stealing, that's right there. He's stealing the election. But so they've got better. So again, if this is a close election, they're prepared to steal it. Now, it's curious. They have certain states, Texas being one of them. Some states they ignored entirely. I think South Carolina was the one that recently we talked about earlier, wasn't it? South Carolina? Voter ID law?
Yeah.
See if that one, too, enough to take it to court. They'd win. But they cared about Texas enough to take it to court.
Well, that's because...
Now, why? Why Carolina and Texas? Why not all the other ones? Why not Tennessee?
Because in Texas, he got, no votes.
A lot of votes in Texas.
No, he doesn't. Texas hates him.
No. Large black community loves him.
I'm telling you, they said it years ago that he would never get the majority vote in Texas.
Every state in the land, the inner city welfare minorities are for Barack Obama's. Because everybody else wants to take their crap on it. Because they're not supposed to have it. So, no, it's just that they don't seem to overwhelm the vote yet. But we don't know about this election. I don't know. I mean, look what happened. Look at all the people that came in there after Louisiana, after Hurricane Katrina. Crime shot through the roof. I mean, these weren't exactly savory people who ended up in their state. As I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying, but they got a lot of problems in the mix there. And I don't know what the percentages are and where, and what conclave. If any of the cities in Texas are necessarily liberal, because most big cities are. I mean, I don't know the demographics of Texas, but for some reason, he thinks this makes a difference in Texas.
Well,
which means he thinks Texas is important and South Carolina is important, and they think they can steal those elections in those states.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Glenn Beck would not have moved to Texas, and especially I think he's in Dallas, if he thought it was super liberal.
The government isn't. The government hasn't been. But I wouldn't call the governor of Texas, what's his name again? He ran for a Republican nominee.
Rick Perry.
Yeah, he's not exactly my kind of conservative guy, so.
Well, neither is Romney.
Right. So.
Hey, we were before the next segment, we were talking about.
But wait a minute. When you say Glenn Beck moved to Texas, from where? Like moved to Texas from?
New York.
Yeah. Wow. Like Texas couldn't appeal to someone after New York. I mean, just about everything's bad in New York. That's why people keep leaving. Like California. California's not better than New York. They won't go there. But you don't see New York anymore.
On again to the next segment. You and I were talking about GOP to their
Anyway, before you move on, this thing, that's just supposition, folks. I'm not telling you that's what's going to happen. That's how it happens. I'm saying could be happening. But if you think like a political machine cretin like the Democrat Party, I mean, it's almost a given, isn't it, that they're set up to steal elections in Texas and South Carolina. Or they wouldn't care about voter ID laws specifically there.
And the other thing is the GOP taking away power from the state's delegates that they did during this.
A lot of the people voted for us at the conventions, and the problem is caucuses too.
So,
and a caucus isn't a convention. It's not that simple.
So the RNC is centralizing power in Washington, D.C. from the states.
They got such a pushback, they didn't do it. This is the proposed rules, and this is what I'm going to say to you. The RNC elites have tried to centralize power to kill and any other grassroots movement. They've caused them nothing but a problem because they're in the way of their agenda. Their agenda isn't, or they are not conservative. They are right-wing progressives in charge of the Republican Party, and they don't want these Tea Party in their way because you have to compromise. And through compromise with the Democrats comes moving forward towards socialism. Thank you, Mr. Lennon. Yeah. That's right. That moving forward. Obama's campaign slogan? It was Lenin's campaign slogan. Moving forward to socialism. He just left off towards socialism. It means the same thing, but what the hell? Sounds better.
Well, in doing this, though, they're squeezing out the people that are the conservatives and are...
Well, the party has been doing that for a very long time, which is where you saw a fracture of the party with the Reform Party under Buchanan. You've got the Constitutional Party, the Libertarian Party. All these are fractures off the Republican Party. There are others.
What if they all consolidate?
Including the new Whig Party. Did you know there's a modern Whig Party?
So
there is. Look it up. Google modern Whig, W-H-I-G Party.
What if they, because we're being squeezed by progressives on both sides, that squeezes out another party, but this party's going to be effectual because they've already started at the grassroots. The RNC would have a cow.
It can't squeeze out something that started at the grassroots. Grassroots is independent of the Republican Party. Therefore, it doesn't squeeze out of the Republican Party. It just
grows.
It is birthed.
Well, have you ever seen a baby being born?
All right. It is created from nothing. How's that?
Okay, there you go. Oh, you mean like from God?
Yes. But that won't solve any of our problems whatsoever. Until the people, it likely will just cause people to become complacent again and think that everything's changed and nothing has changed. Until the people understand the power that the people wield and wield that power over the federal government, thing will fix the problem. How can we get back to the constitutional republic? An overwhelming majority of Americans in the United States don't understand the Constitution and have no idea what the Founding Fathers created here. None. They don't even know how this country was founded. They don't know how many governments we've had. Do you? Think about it real quick. How many governments we had since the Revolutionary War? Susan? And how many, Susan?
3.
Name.
I don't know. There was the Continental Congress.
Which was during the Revolutionary War.
Right, because we had to keep things, we had to have some kind of a central place to do the war from. Then the Articles of Confederation.
Came
after the war, and the Constitution.
The Republic.
The Republic. Which Paul Ryan called this a democracy.
He said democratic ideals.
Said democracy.
Or our democracy. Or whatever.
Our democracy. That's what he said.
No, he didn't. I do democratic ideals or democratic values. Has nothing to do with the Democrat Party. They're not the Democrat Party. They are the Democrat Party. They're not the Democratic Party. Just Democrat. That's it. I love they kind of threw on the IC for everybody to make them seem like, oh, they're so democratic. No, they're not. They're so socialistic.
So, yeah, we had 3.
Good answer. It would have taken 2. Because technically, although the Constitutional Congress overlapped, technically, you could say 2. But 3 is a better answer. So, hey, circle gets the square. So all you low income, like me, minorities, not like me, young, not like me, disabled, like me, voters out there who are feel disenfranchised by the fact that you have to show voter ID, let me just say, push the button.
Baghdad, military setting, and the troops don't know the Messiah they're getting. I'm the creme de la creme of the media's world on a tour with everyone but Dan Rather. Time flies, doesn't seem a minute since the Illinois Senate had Barry in it. Our troops cleaned up Center City. I'd say thanks, but they only get my pity. Whether it's Jordan or Afghanistan or Kuwait or where are we?
One night in Baghdad and Barack's our savior. The surge is working, Barry just don't care. You'll find a gap.
Okay, thank you, Paul Shanklin, paulshanklin.com. And we're on to our military heroes, starting with a hero killer. From military.com. An Army psychiatrist, charged in the deadly Fort Hood shooting rampage has told the judge that he grew a beard because his Muslim faith requires it. Where was his beard when he was in the military? Didn't his Muslim faith require it? Speaking of what?
This is total bull. I mean, this is a military...
We have only got one sentence into it. How is it total bull? We don't even know what's happening yet. We just know he grew a beard. It's bull that he grew a beard. Trust me, most men grow a beard. It's not bull. All right, speaking at court for the first time since showing up with a beard in violation of Army regulations in June, Major Nidal Hassan says he isn't trying to disrespect the authority of the judge by doing whatever the hell he wants. Today's hearing before Colonel Gregory Gross since an appeals court stopping to consider the dispute over Hassan's beard. Now, if these beards are so important, how can we let Muslims in the military? We're going to allow beards, so we can't allow Muslims. Easy. No Sikhs, no Muslims, no fuzzy muzzies, none, no fuzzy people. So we wouldn't have these questions, right?
Okay, again, this is a military tribunal, right?
Yeah, just hold him down and shave his head.
Thank you. Put him in the...
That's my military. I went to military school for 2 years. I wasn't in real military. Not this. It's been at least since I went in the 80s, it's a real wussified service. Boot camp's a freaking joke. Everybody, whine, cry. Girls got a book, okay? Exception for the girls, exception for the fat boys, exception, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody understands that on the battlefield there's no affirmative action. I wish people would start saying that. I remember an old movie. I think might have been a John Wayne movie, maybe not. But it was an old war movie. It was boot camp. It was sort of the same thing. They were going to go off to war in World War II, and he was a really mean drill sergeant, and but he was having problems with some of the guys. They don't like authority, so they're having problems with him. And what came out later, he's like, I've got only 16 weeks to prepare you to go to war or die. I'm trying to prepare you to live. That's it. We could do because it's necessary. Understand? All this crap that's going on in the military is necessary. Recognizing homosexuality, you got to be kidding me. What you do off base on your time with your money is your own business. This stuff making exceptions, telling Christian clerics, Christian chaplains, they can't say in the name of Jesus Christ in their sermon when they're Christian ministers. Just absolutely ridiculous. But Fuzzy Muzzy keeps his beard, right? No, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Don't rub down there. He won't have no hair. All right. So first thing we have to do is fix our military plan again. Sorry, women. If you can't take the same, please be able to thank me for that, because why the hell do you want to go and fight a war? So that's first. Second, we got to toughen up our people. This all stems from this notion that lights, ladies and gentlemen, lights are not supposed to be fair, and in the military, fairness kills people. With you coddly people, you're going to send it to battle where the enemy doesn't give a crap what it has to do to blow your backside up. And you got through because of affirmation and PC and social diversity. Well, when you're shot dying in the battlefield somewhere in sand lately, don't come crying to me, because you can blame all those left-wing, little progressive, socialist, commie, fascist bastards for sending you off to war ill-prepared. Because to be prepared, we got to be mean to you. Can't do that. You know what the whole intent of boot camp is, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to horrify all of you. It was to strip away your individuality and identity and bring you back as a member of the unit. The military is collective, not individual at all. That was a stated goal. You can't say that now. How dare you try to take somebody's individuality from them? I'm sorry, we don't look in the military. No pink poo-poos. So we got this idiot to come to justice yet. Why? Why did the administration, hasn't this guy been nothing? 4 years. Just nothing. Now we get to hear to say a word. The way it used to be in the military. You're a prisoner. You didn't get to grow hair. They'll hold you down and shave you from head to toe. They will. This is it's got terrorists who went wild and killed a bunch of people, bunch of military people on a military base, gets to even come and show up because he'd say, well, my faith. Did your faith also demand you kill us? Then I don't care about your beard. Gross had a son in contempt for a sixth time and sent him to the nearby room to watch the rest of the proceedings on closed-circuit television. Again, why can't we just hold him down and shape and marry? There are no constitutional rights in the military.
I know. I just don't. I mean, it's not like he's in Mayor Bloomberg's court city. Freaking Muslims can run rampant. This is the freaking military. Down and shave his ass.
Yeah, in my world, when he hits the electric chair, before they pull the switch, I'm covering him in pig fat. I make it show and go, pull switch! Paper tiger in my backside. But unfortunately, we are a paper tiger because we don't have people like Blackjack Pershing.
And you bring up a really good point. What is this doing to the recruitment to more of these terrorists? Does it actually help? Because it's going all over the country. I mean,
what is all this recruiting of American citizens into our military? Open homosexuality in the rank. There goes a good percentage of the people that aren't going to volunteer for that crap. Fuzzy Muzzy serving. There's a bunch of people not going to serve with them either. Good, they're racists. No, they're pragmatists. Fuzzy Muzzies are the enemy. Well, they're doing all our enemy. How do you tell one from the other? Does one have an E stamped on his forehead? Because I haven't seen that yet. If you got glasses, pass them around. Because if you say you're a Muslim, you're the enemy because your Grand Prophet Muhammad tells you to be our enemy. Your so-called religion makes you my enemy. Sorry, I can't get past me, ladies and gentlemen. I know what that crap says, and if you want to know really what it says, you can read some of Robert Spencer's book, like the what is it called? I want to say Uncooperative. It's the Direct Guide to Islam, the Crusades. Really excellent book, factual, footmark, great book. Learn the truth, not having to jam Quran and all the hadiths and history. I wish I had that time back. All right, so faces the death penalty, convicted in 2000, but we have to worry about his beard. The attack that killed 13 and wounded more than 24 others. And there's another thing. How many could he have killed and wounded if every one of our military personnel were actually armed with firearms? Our own bases. Did you people not know that you're not allowed to have a firearm on a base in the military unless you're in the police force? You know, military police, SPs, APs, air police. Yeah, on my base, if you had a gun, you lived on base, you had to check it in the armory. Something happened. Everybody has to run to the armory because nobody has a damn gun except the police, the air police. But they're not even allowed. They've got to call permission to load their gun and call their permission to fire their gun. That's really conducive to my safety. But this is how our bases are run, like some idiotic experiment by the left-wing liberal progressive socialist commie fascists. Everybody, look, you're sending them to die. Do you trust the guns? Do you trust them to use the guns? Do you trust them to walk around in military zones with guns 24/7? On our own base, our own soldiers are left unprotected as far as for themselves. This is what the government thinking. They even disarm our soldiers. And you don't think they want to disarm you? You better believe it. And they're finding new and creative ways they're setting up right now to take them away from you. But they're setting it up. They're setting it up like dominoes, and when they're ready, they'll click that first domino and they'll all fall. Okay, again from military.com. U.S. military units have resorted to building hardened safe rooms, what they call alamos, to protect themselves from attacks from the soldiers and police officers they are training, according to a report from Stars and Stripes. I can't believe Stripes is still on. Troops have built the safe rooms as U.S. and NATO commanders receive almost daily reports of supposed Afghan security forces turning their guns on their trainers. U.S. leaders have urged troops to maintain partnerships, so use caution. You do realize more people get there by Afghan security than bad guys, right? Well, they are bad guys, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. The top commander said the reason was because of the fasting during Ramadan.
Crazy, man. That makes them kill people. You know, a good thing I've never I've fasted a lot in my life. You know what? I've never shot anybody. So there you go. No, it's because their religion is crazy. They don't like us. So why don't we get the hell out of there and leave them alone? We've already set them up to help them fight us in the future. I suggest we get the hell out of there. Stop teaching them crap. Well, you have to take precautions. Although close partnership is still the strategy, said Alexander Verne, a Deputy Secretary General of NATO, which we need to get rid of, and a veteran U.S. But you have to take precautions that won't undermine success. Yes, you heard me say we have to get nailed out. If you do decide you want some kind of treaty that says if somebody attacks you for good or ill, that we have to come to your defense, even though if we think you're wrong, then that's up to you. But I say we take all involvement in war on a case-by-case basis and stay out of these kind of entanglements, and NATO has become completely useless for us. It just doesn't help us. All right. First part taken and asked Wednesday about small groups of U.S. troops building hardened safe rooms on forward bases controlled by Afghans to retreat to in case of trouble, as reported by Stars and Stripes. At Fort Wayne last week, where troops were training for deployment to Afghanistan, Army Command Sergeant Major William Johnson of the International Security Force Joint Command in Kabul said the safe room technique was a last resort for isolated troops who might be in a precarious position. What can we do? Say if we have another Koran burning incident, such as happened earlier this year with the accidental burning of Muslim homes, how would our small group protect themselves? Johnson said. The group went areas that we could literally allocate until reinforcements arrive, said Johnson, who was touring training areas in the States before returning to Afghanistan. Something we've always thought about, but with the increase in insider threats, I think it has caused us to do is rehearse it, Johnson said. Of course, in Stripes.
Okay, this is just sad.
Just bring our soldiers home. Home. Enough. Don't want to help people, don't want to be helped. At all, it's all in the Constitution. Just bring our people home. No, the war itself isn't constitutional, and no, the president doesn't need permission of Congress to declare war before he goes to war. This is all incorrect for the people who created the Constitution, and what they don't have that power. They have the power to declare war, but it has nothing to do with war. All right, but Johnson, as well as Vershbaum, stressed that improving the cultural sensitivity of U.S. troops to behavior that might be opposed to the Afghans was a key to the success of the transition of security responsibilities from the U.S.-led coalition to the Afghan forces. Well, speaking of people who talk like this, I don't know if you know that Harvard is investigating 125 students for cheating. Harvard. We have standards and morals and all that. What? The bottom line is that maintaining a collaborative relationship is the formula that has worked. We have to train our troops to be more sensitive, he said. In the broader scheme of things, our strategies work. Who out there wants a sensitive soldier besides homosexuals? And can't we have all the homosexuals in it? What? They're more sensitive than we are, right? That's what I hear. I'm just saying, I don't want sensitive shoulders. I want people to rip people's heads off and shit down their throat. That's what I want. All right. At least, the bottom line is that maintaining a collaborative relationship is the formula that has worked. It's worked so well. 45 coalition troops have been killed this year by individuals in Afghan police or army uniforms, and the insider attacks are of concern to everybody at NATO, Birchbow said. We have to train our own troops to be more sensitive, he said. In the broader scheme of things, our strategy is working. Are you sure? Really? The guys get blown up in the salad, go, what do you want the soldiers to do? Go, how do you feel about your mommy? Nearly a third of the U.S. troops killed this month in Afghanistan. 12 of 38 have been victims of insider attacks. August has also been the worst month of the year, with a total of 48 troops killed thus far, compared in 46 in July, the previous highest monthly total for 2012. Speaking of deaths, why don't we ever hear about SEAL Team 6 anymore? Did anybody even hear about SEAL Team 6? That a record number of them were killed after the Osama bin Laden leak. Nobody's even put those SEALs on that helicopter. 21 Navy SEALs on one helicopter. Why? Why did they said they were all killed? More Navy SEALs that have been killed the entire time the Navy SEALs has existed. In one shot. And no investigation.
What, too? Could you imagine have been one of those SEALs going on the plane, asking the same damn questions going on? Why am I here? They must have had a conversation. Like, why are we all here? I'm sure
they had a story. Not like you ever say in a matter way. Get on that. Out over the things. Okay. That's your job. Problem is, nobody's even asking any questions. Why Navy SEAL Team 6? Why, after the leaks in the White House, were the ones who took out Osama bin Laden? Why were all 21 of them put on one helicopter? Why were they sent out on this mission? What was the mission? How did anybody know they'd be on that helicopter? These are all questions somebody should be asking besides me. The involved, the military investigator should be asking these questions. Investigation with questions. Whether you're a reporter or a police officer or military, you have to question. Nobody's questioning. Yes. Nobody's talking about it. 21 Navy SEALs, boom, gone. And now gone from discussion in the United States of America. So I thought I'd bring it up. So there you have it. Maybe Congress, what happened to those Navy SEALs? What is the story? How did they end up on that helicopter? What were they doing? How did they know they would be there? Those are easy questions. You don't have to take it up to the conspiracy level. The president must have sent them to the doom. Possible, but there's no way I get to that. But somebody sent them to their doom. And I'd like to know who that was and why. Because after that, we might find someone told him to send them on that ill-fated flight. But, I'm just uncooperative, so the hell with it. So, all right, 45 the whole year of coalition troops killed over there. And again, 21. One helicopter. I don't want sensitive troops. Stop saying sensitive. of the U.S. troops killed this month in Afghanistan, 12 of 38, have been victims of insider attacks. August has also been the worst month of the year for the coalition, with a total of 48 troops killed thus far, compared to 46 in July, the highest monthly total for 2012. We are in number than when we were fighting the war. This is stupid. I've had enough. My people home. Let these people deal with them. We've given them way too much already. I get the future. And my Kreskin moment is that they will turn it against us. Afghanistan and Iraq are going to turn against us. That's my prediction. You heard it here first. And we're very close to an Iran caliphate. You haven't heard that here first. Despite the spike in insider attacks, both President Caesar, Barack Obama, and Marine General John, the ISAF commander, I don't feel like that means Afghanistan, last week stressed that closer cooperation with the Afghan forces was vital to a successful transition that would allow the Allies to withdraw all combat forces in 2014. Oh, I remember the reports. Obama brings all combat troops home. That's what the news said. All combat troops. Didn't they just say by 2014? And it was going to bring everybody home. When he became president, he's sure doing a bad job of it. You got more people out there. Send them to Africa. Sitting around eating all my eggs. Send that battalion over to Africa. They could do something. Kill people. In the radio briefing of the Pentagon August 23rd, Allen said the current focus was on green on blue attacks. What that means?
I have no idea what that means either. Oh.
Green zone versus blue zone? Are they playing capture the flag? Green team versus blue team?
Are they the Blue Men Group?
I didn't write this article, but I sure have to question anyone that would just say something like that and leave it like that. What the hell is green on blue attacks? Who's green, who's blue, and why? Somebody's envious, and somebody's holding their breath, I guess. Right?
Who the hell knows?
Or someone, I get it, somebody's jealous and somebody's sad. It's the jealous people versus the sad people. All right. She's getting ready to push a button. That must be his commercial.
No, this is just
4 minutes of the commercial.
It's only 2.
Oh. All right, I know what you're going to push. All right, folks, you'll enjoy this. Push the button.
What would you do for Obamacare?
Greetings, comrade. And what would you do for Obamacare?
Me?
Yes, you. Would you talk your mother into taking these federally subsidized pills in place of her upcoming bypass surgery?
Sure. Hey, Ma, I got great news. You don't gotta go to the hospital after all. Just take these here pills and you'll be better in no time. What would you do for Obamacare?
Greetings, comrade. What would you do for Obamacare? Beats me. Would you leave your children hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt? Yeah, why not? Hi, sign here, and here, and here.
What would you do for Obamacare?
Greetings, comrade. What would you do for Obamacare? Comrade, would you publicly denounce the Republican Party and all it stands for? What? Would you agree to be bussed at government expense to a protest rally in front of Rush Limbaugh's home and walk around waving a sign that says Rush to Fascism? You're kidding me, right? Would you be willing to dress up like Hitler and attend the next taxpayer tea party in your area? Mister, if you don't walk away from me right now, I'm gonna beat the shit.
What would you do for Obamacare?
Greetings, comrade. What would you do for Obamacare? Me? Well, hell, I'd do just about anything. Would you tear up the U.S. Constitution? You bet I would. Here you go.
What would you do for Obamacare?
Greetings, comrade. What would you do for Obamacare?
Obamacare? Would you agree to donate your organs to medical science at the moment of your death? Well, sure. I mean, if it might help save lives,
What would you do for Obamacare?
All right, thank you, Dark Prince. DARCPRYNCE is YouTube channel. All right, Health Buster from Fox News. Chocolate, often touted for aiding heart health, may have another benefit up its sleeve. Men who eat a moderate amount of chocolate per week can possibly lower their risk of stroke, according to research published in the journal Neurology.
I love doing this segment because I love busting what Western medical science field tells us we can and cannot eat.
Yeah, chocolate's actually really good for you.
Thank you, Mama Obama.
It's the amount of sugar you put in it that matters. If you don't want sugar, get darker chocolate. Darker the chocolate, the less sugar. So, if you want to be disgusted, get baker's chocolate, no sugar. Chocolate's bitter and gross. But it's actually, like all things disgusting, is good for you. No, there's a lot of things good for you that they told you were bad for you. There are a lot of things that they said were good for you that turned out bad for you, i.e. Margarine.
Yeah, I know. That's your pet peeve. You always bring it up when we do stuff about food. And
people are still eating that crap. I'm like, what are you, crazy? That stuff's bad for you. That stuff will kill you.
And
eat butter. It's better for you. It is. They've already said it.
And lard isn't bad for you either.
No, it's not. But vegetable shortening is, because it's partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. They messed with the hydrogen atoms.
That's one thing that I do have to say about your daughter. When she first started coming up here and we were cooking, she was freaking out about cooking with lard. And then she's like, this is really a great thing to cook with. And we're like, yeah. She's like, it doesn't burn. She's like, I'm like, yes, butter burns.
Something like having clueless 28-year-old children.
Yes. Lard has been used for years and years and years and hundreds of years and didn't kill anybody.
Actually, very clean cook.
It is. It is.
It will disappear. It will not burn.
Right.
It just burns off, evaporates.
Right. And
burns faster than everything. Never just use butter to cook in. Almost never. Unless it's on low heat. Otherwise, you do what, Susan? When you're cooking on higher heat and you want butter flavor, you do what?
Mix it with oil.
That's correct. If you want a health oil, you could use extra virgin olive oil. Yes, there is a difference between olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. You decide. I rather cook with lard because it's cheaper than extra virgin olive oil. But sometimes I have to have extra virgin olive oil for salads, salad dressings, whatever the case may be. And I use it sometimes for cooking certain dishes. But it's expensive, so only where it matters. I don't know how we got on food. Oh, Health Busters. Oh, that's natural.
Chocolate.
Study author Susanna Larsson from Linska Institute in Stockholm, Sweden, said it was natural to examine chocolate's effects on stroke given its other healthy properties. Chocolate consumption has been shown to reduce pressure, which is a strong risk factor for stroke. Chocolate also reduces LDL cholesterol, which is also a risk factor for stroke. So it made you look at stroke. Stroke me. But I will say this. I don't know whether cholesterol plays any role in anything you need today. They're guessing, like the margarine thing, like the eggs. Eggs have been they're very good for you, very healthy, more so than chocolate. But you won't hear that from WS doctors.
You sang.
They did. Good.
Hey, speaking of which, you did the MOVE program through the VA today. And this is one of the things that is your pet peeve with their program. teaching people how to eat.
Well, they're not very good at it.
No, they're not.
They're way too politically correct about it. They're way too focused on diet more than exercise and getting healthy, which is considering how much money I know we've dumped into whatever study created the MOVE program. Oh, or maybe that was just Mama Obama who created it. She can't do anything. She doesn't know anything. Someone had to do it for her. Make the research. That's what you do now. You just tell them what the research to do, and their job is to make it. That's science today. Now, you can starve yourself with chocolate if you wish. Now, if you stuff your face with chocolate, which is also full of sugar, you have it to your waistline. Like everything. Larson and her team conducted a study of 30,000 Swedish men between the ages of 49 and 75. Each participant filled out a food questionnaire detailing the different foods they consumed, as well as discussing how often they ate chocolate. Scientists then identified how many men suffered from strokes over a 10-year period, close to 2,000 cases. Upon analyzing the questionnaires, the researchers found that the men who consumed the most chocolate, 63 grams, or 1/3 of a cup of chocolate chips, had the lowest risk of stroke compared to the men who did not eat any. Overall, the highest chocolate consumers decreased their risk of stroke by 7%. Now, let me get this straight. I'm supposed to eat, especially women, a lot because 40% reduction if you eat at least 6 eggs. And chocolate, wine, and coffee. You can have a chocolate omelet with coffee for breakfast, right? And with a wine dessert. Wow, I'm going to be eating good. What do you eat? Eggs, chocolate, wine, and coffee. I live on. What's for snack? Chocolate. If you eat dark chocolate, you need to eat only 30 grams instead of 60 grams, so you don't need as much. Because other than dark chocolate, there's 30 grams of sugar more in milk chocolate than dark chocolate. If you didn't know, it's a lot of sugar. Then Larson said there's less a risk that you gain weight if you consume small amounts. From previous research, the scientists have evidence as to why chocolate has such beneficial properties.
And Brian does chocolate. I'm not a person that eats a lot of sweets, never have been, but he likes sweets. So I was very pleased to learn about this because there is heart disease in your family history.
Uh-huh.
So we're on the right track with your coffee and your chocolate and your wine. And take that, Mama Obama.
I know, I was supposed to die when my father died, 55, something
56.
like that. Yeah.
56.
But
he won't either. And there's studies showing that married men live longer than unmarried men. We've done that.
I don't know about that study. From previous research, scientists have a view as to why it has such beneficial properties. There are possible antioxidant effects because chocolate contains flavonoids. Where's the flavor? Those are party people, those flavonoids. They get around. Good people. They just have a party in your bloodstream, having a good old time. Which have been found to be for cardiovascular health, Larson said. However, they don't know exactly why chocolate is active against stroke. There are several potential mechanisms. There is. I just lost my place if you can't figure that out. Well, as the results are encouraging, Lawson doesn't want people to significantly increase the chocolate consumption. I think it's too early to make a recommendation about chocolate, Larson said. They're so afraid of telling you to eat things you like. You notice, if it tastes like cardboard, they're pushing it down your throat. If it's something you really want to eat, we've got to be cautious about letting them eat this. And we think it's healthy, it's healthful, but we don't know And what will happen if they eat too much healthful? We don't know. But you can't eat too much fruit and vegetables, but you can't eat too much chocolate. It's actually better for you than some fruits and vegetables. But, you like it too much. Just have to move your dark chocolate, the amount of chocolate sugar per bite, and it's like a acquired taste. Once you go dark chocolate, you can't go back. Bunch of black men out there and go, damn right. So people can't continue to consume, and if other people start to chocolate, they have to reduce the consumption of something else, because too much could lead to overweight or obesity, so consuming moderation. Larson agreed, however, that the association between chocolate and lower risk has been concretely. So they know this, but they're still not encouraging you to eat chocolate. They want you to die. We have examined the association previously, Larson said, and we have the same combined results in both men and women. This was the last study of this relationship, and now, so there's definitely association. Now, we know the world are having a party right now, singing and dancing because they're listening to a reason to eat chocolate. Oh, my gosh. Ladies, no picking out. Have yourself a little Dove square a night. That's all you need. Like put a chocolate on your pillow or something, and that's what you're allowed to eat.
This goes to show, though, that God has given us everything we need to survive here. There's no such thing as bad food.
There's no such thing as evil. God created every season. It's how we use it that's evil. It's not the substance of the thing that is evil. I'll point to anything, pitchforks to the news. The nuclear bomb didn't set it. Oh, no. Not the plate.
I'm freaking out.
We did this before, When Mom Obama came out with it, it's this plate.
I know, but we didn't actually see it.
Yes, we did. It was yes, we did.
Look at this. They divide the plate into threes. It's not even into fours.
And it's only a 9-inch plate.
Okay.
9-inch plate, because that controls your portions. So you have to go out and buy a special plate just for you that makes it more. Everybody else is a regular plate. You got a little boy's plate. That's conducive to wanting to eat like that.
I do, because, this is from the MOVE program, which Mom Obama adopted, by the way. This is all from the best.
Don't you remember walking around talking about MOVE, but it was about the kids?
Right.
It was still the MOVE program.
Yep.
That's the stupidest crap I've been involved with. It's a support group. You call up and you'll just listen to someone read all the brochures they gave you for free that you could have read on your own, and they just read them to you. And then we're supposed to be supporting each other, but we really don't have time to talk because they have to get in all their bullet points for the conference call. It's really stupid. I mean, some of the stuff is like, well, that's just wrong. So I have to open my mouth. Anyone that knows me knows that, right? So I try not to. I try to ignore it. Half the time I just leave early so I get credit for it. And overly indulgent on discussing diet when it is the most destructive thing ever created in the American society, in my opinion, is dieting. Because dieting doesn't work. It makes people unhappy, makes people less productive. So let's, by all means, encourage people to do it.
Well, I love it. We're supposed to be omnivores, right? Okay. Does everybody know what an omnivore means? It means that we eat.
Yeah, in my opinion, we're barely an omnivore.
Okay. And omnivores eat all different types of food.
Omni means everything, right. All inclusive.
And on this plate, the smallest portion is freaking meat.
For omnivore person.
You would think that we were like deer.
It's just consider these high-packed in calories, but they're mostly good calories. They're mostly protein. They're just good calories. So meat is good for you, especially if you're active, because you need protein. And you need meat protein. And more importantly, you regularly need red meat protein. I don't care what any vegetarian tells you, the science is done with that one. There is one amino acid the body can't make from any other food but red meat. And if you don't have it, your brain does it. That explains vegetarians. Their brain can no longer function because they're in dire need of some red meat.
So basically,
So they think the meat is the vampires want they need blood to survive.
So we like. I want to take this plate, emanate it.
Oh, don't forget up here. Circle 8-ounce glass of milk, and your food circle, which they don't discuss that much. In fact, they haven't discussed it at all.
It's free food.
No, and I didn't have it in front of me, so I didn't ask them.
Okay.
I don't have any of my. They always go turn the page. I'm like, I'm surfing the net.
Anyway, they said the biggest portion is vegetables, and then they have a potato, and then
All right, she's missing how to describe it. Half your plate, vegetables, fruit, vegetables. On this picture, it's all vegetables, unless, like me, you consider cucumbers and tomatoes to be a fruit, which I do, because they are, botanically speaking. They have seeds. Half the plate. So you got your broccoli, your carrots, your cauliflower, your cherry tomatoes, cucumber, some lettuce leaves. That's half your plate. The other half is half starch and half. So the star is obviously rabbit food.
That's what I'm saying. We might as well be deer.
I don't eat that crap. Under their plan, I would necessarily starve because I won't eat it. It's disgusting to this day, and I'm 50 now. My taste buds are half gone, and they still taste horrible to me. Can't do it. Can't eat certain vegetables. Can't do it. Can't eat most vegetables. But yeah, that's their plan. You get a nice plate, yeah. And then the other thing is, keep it under this amount of calories per this amount of ideal weight, and it's all like calorie crap, counting crap. I grew up as a kid that the women were doing, and then everybody was doing. California went out there, and then when I became a trainer, everybody wanted to do it. I was very discouraging on the go. The most I'd say is if come to the gym 30 minutes a day and cut back on the fat. And any simple sugar. And yes, fruit is a simple sugar. I don't care if it's processed or not. Simple sugar, trust me on that. Complex carbohydrates is a complex sugar. That'd be your leafy vegetables. They're putting you on a mostly carbohydrate diet because 2/3 of your plate of carbohydrates, because starch is also carbohydrates.
I know, and it's really profoundly not healthy.
I don't know if they think it's healthy. There's no definitive science on what is the perfect diet for the human being. But you can guess we're never going to get it, which is why I highly recommend everybody take vitamins. I do. Because you're not going to always eat a well-balanced breakfast. First of all, I know, because I used to do it. I used to eat all these foods, and it's expensive. It's unbelievably expensive to eat healthy. To eat the optimum diet, to be active, exercise, want to put on muscle mass and all this, the way you have to eat it, and by the way, you don't have to cut down on calories, you have to add stuff if you want to build muscle. But, I don't know, diet. Just diet. I've been there for a month. All I heard about was dieting, till today, finally, when I had to hear from a nurse who doesn't know anything, because if it's quit, welcome to the government. And so she's working on his nose, but she doesn't really know anything. So I have to chime in every once in a while, correct her. Just normal misconceptions people have. But you think if you're going to teach a class, you might read a book or something, or go on the internet, look some stuff up on your own. So you don't, I'm just going to read to you and talk about my personal exposure to this in life and just repeat a bunch of stuff like a schoolyard. But that's the government. She gets paid just to be there. Oh, go up on time either. That's twice or there on time. Bureaucrats.
Anyway,
what? Am I done with this already?
You're done. You did more than my expectations on this subject.
But I didn't do this story yet.
I know. We don't have to do this story now.
We don't have to?
No, we don't.
But Baby Joe?
No.
Not even for little Baby Joe?
No. We need to go to a commercial, and you need to go to segment 2.
Okay. With that said, folks, go refresh your beverage of choice. This is the Uncooperative Radio Show. You stay tuned, because we'll be right back.
You use my middle name. What a nasty campaign. I'm not ashamed of my middle name. It rhymes with change. By her reign and John Wayne. I'm the next JFK, but just call me B.O. today. Can you refrain from using my middle name? Now let me explain. It causes Oprah stress and strain. I believe we can collectively come together and change.
The path to restoring our republic was laid down by our founding fathers. The principles of freedom, liberty, personal responsibility, and limited government are conservative ideals we will never abandon. America is listening. Grassroots, common sense, conservative talk radio. It's on the internet. Tune in now. Red State Talk Radio, featuring some of the most popular internet talk show hosts in America today. Are you listening? RedStateTalkRadio.com.
As president, I expect to be judged and should be judged by the results of this program.
Breaking news, the May jobs report just came out, and the numbers are not good. So the unemployment rate went up.
40 consecutive months of 8% unemployment or more.
Government payroll is down 13,000, construction down 28,000.
300,000 more long-term unemployed.
The U.S. saw the smallest increase in jobs in a year.
Any way you slice it, looks like last summer all over again.
Practically nothing about this report that was positive.
Well, this is Obama's economy. That's fine. Give it to me.
Uncooperative Radio Show merchandise is now available at cafepress.com/uncooperative radio. At this wonderful site, you will find hats, T-shirts, coffee mugs, and bumper stickers, and much, much more. Merchandise slogans include, I am an uncooperative citizen, become an uncooperative citizen, I am an uncooperative citizen and damn proud of it, and the Constitution is the solution. So visit cafepress.com/uncooperative radio today and become an uncooperative citizen. That's cafepress.com/uncooperative radio.
Jeremiah was my pastor. He was a good friend of mine. I said I never heard a single nasty word he said, and I hope you'd believe that line. I had the audacity of hope that you'd believe that line. Now I'm saying Reverend Wright was wrong. Jeremiah's gone now. He sleeps with the fishes in the deep blue sea, and he didn't speak for me. Or if the Clinton...
The Terry O'Brien Show. The Terry O'Brien Show airs live in vivid red, white, and blue, Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. Central on Blog Talk Radio.
I think that most liberals are well-intentioned but misguided. They're like children who have the luxury of believing in the political equivalent of the tooth fairy. They need some tough love. They need a big old healthy dose of common sense and information. And when they get it, the smart ones will become conservative.
Strap in for the wild ride with America's original conservative warrior princess.
5 different budget plans on both ends of the ideological spectrum failed.
5 budget plans failed in the Senate.
Among them, a 99-0 vote, defeating President Obama's $3.8 trillion budget request.
The Democrats are afraid of their own shadow in the Senate.
They even vote down their own president's budget.
Only takes 51 votes to pass a budget.
Democrats in the Senate refuse to be held accountable.
Under the Democratic control of the Senate, for 3 straight years, there hasn't been a budget.
We haven't had one for 3 years.
The result of no discipline for 3 years is you spend $10.4 billion.
Our national debt is more than $15.6 trillion.
It's approaching the $16 trillion mark.
$16 trillion worth of debt.
It's the number one threat to our national security.
The longer we wait, the more difficult the solution is going to be.
The federal government
is now twice the size it was in 2001.
National unemployment has registered above 8% for the last 38 months.
There's no way Barack Obama, with a straight face, can come before the American people and argue that somehow he has made things better than they were when he got here.
The Obama economy isn't working for a lot of Americans.
People across the country know what they want. They want a healthy economy, and the Obama economy is not a healthy economy.
Most Americans have soured on the economy, and they've now soured on this president.
42% said he's made it worse.
Independents, by double digits, think he made it worse.
We're not where we should be. Obama made it worse.
At a time when it's hard enough already to create jobs in America.
Have policies that maximize economic growth.
Supports our economy.
Growing our economy. Build our economy.
To help this economy grow.
Create jobs.
American jobs. Jumpstart the economy. Create jobs.
We should be focusing on jobs and the economy.
So if you're looking for a simple three-word description of the Democrat approach to the problems we face, it's this: duck and cover.
Okay, and welcome back to the Uncooperative Radio Show. All right. Moving right along. I wonder what we are doing now. The political smackdown from Newsmax. Haha, I did it different. From protesters at the Republican convention, it appeared at times as if nobody but Ron Paul supporters showed up. That, however, is not the entire story. Hurricane Isaac was still a tropical storm, so many people traveling to Tampa from across the country, including some from New York and California. But a few months ago, the Occupy groups in St. Pete and Tampa got together and decided not to make a show of it here, because they already know the Republicans dislike them and don't care what they say. St. Pete member Lenny Flank said the groups decided against setting up camp here in favor of going to the DNC in Charlotte next week. One thing I've always wondered, why does the DNC get theirs last all the time? Their convention, why do they get the last word? Makes this up. Also, the Occupy people might surprise you that I won't say Republicans, because and libertarians have many of the same you doofuses out there. The only difference is we know what the problem is, and the solution is the government. That's where we separate. All your big government regulations and laws and redistribution have caused all the things you complain about. It is not enough government. There is too much government. Think about it. What can lobbyists get from government if they have no power? Oh, that's right. You don't like lobbyists? You don't like any capitalism and Wall Street? Oh, take government out of it. There's nothing to buy, nothing to sell. But as long as there's something to sell, people are going to buy it. And you're asking for more of it, you useful idiots. Lenin, not John, as in the commie, knew you well. The Republicans already know we hate them, and they hate us. It's a matter of practicality. People think that we're an arm of the Democratic Party. Democratic Party. We want to show people that we're not. Like many people, Frank has heard cross stories of our protests are happening, but websites such as Resist RNC have either fizzled or turned out to be a lot of talk. With Mitt Romney set to accept the nomination, though a large march and other activities not connected to Occupy together. We've heard that before, though, many times this week. Meanwhile, on Thursday, a group of Republican National Convention protesters are blocking a road coal power plant about 15 miles from the GOP event. The protest at the Big Bend Power Station. At least 3 people Thursday had attached their arms to posts near the plant. Wow, they got 3, folks. They're rocking. Live videos show police officers standing guard and several protesters videotaping and taking photographs. Protest activity at the convention has been light. As of Thursday afternoon, only 2 people had been arrested. Well, you know there's not a lot of OWS people there because they like to get arrested. Sorry to tell you where this is from. From Human Events. Well, most of politics allow Democrats and Republicans to tell they're merging, to tell their own story of their respective conventions. Outspoken Democrat Representative Debbie Warren Schultz decided she could not let Republicans have her day in Tampa. I didn't write it. Paid to write that. It says she couldn't let Republicans supposed to have their day in Tampa. Schultz and Senator Fluky Flucky Flake Bitch, who became famous as Planned Parenthood advocate after Rush Limbaugh called her a slut eye, for claiming she couldn't afford her own birth, crashed the media building at the RNC, talking briefly to reporters and filming a shout-out to troops as part of a Google project. The women turned to a Democrat war room that washerwoman Schultz set up box from the convention to give a press conference denouncing the convention's embrace of women as phony and calling the buy-in ticket wrong for the middle class.
What should I say wrong for the middle class? Addie's reporting this, that they were even there. Not even Fox News.
Nobody.
And what is with this fluke bitch?
I'm sure she was an operative. Everyone's like, oh, she's just no, she's not. She was in for the communications director for Obama's administration. What's her name? What's her name?
Anita Dunn?
You need to do this is the other one, the one that's running for senator. One of those 2 for women. She was working as an intern as a political activist before she came out with and she looked. I love how they make her. She looks so.
Lucy.
Yeah, they pick her to look so innocent, and I'm here and tell you need to give me money so I can have sex whenever I want.
What's up?
They've got a prostitute to come in.
Lucy who? No.
Lou who?
Cindy Lou who? They found another Cindy Lou who?
Flaky, Lukey,
I'm going to get a list of the speakers that are going to be at the DNC. It is a scary, scary thing.
The Democrats are scary people. I mean, they hang out with Democrats. Says it all, doesn't it? Not going to answer me. So the slut then returned to the war room.
Crazy.
The slut and fellow slut went to the Fluky Flucknich also condemned Romney for not standing up for her more strongly in the wake of Limbaugh's insult. You are asking people to buy you pills so you can have sex whenever you, without consequences. You're a slut. I have no problem saying it. That is the definition of a slut. I mean, it's so important that your whole life depends on you getting your little subsidy for yourself. Sorry. Have fun. You're a slut. If the shoe fits, wear it. Or should I say, if the pump fits, wear it.
So you officially said that 7 times on this show. And we wonder why terrestrial radio won't pick us up.
She's a slut. Well, she's one of 2 things. She's either a slut or she's acting like a slut. Either way, she's a slut.
Okay, now we're up to 12.
slut. Need 13. God. Limbaugh is installed. Romney at the time said the radio host had not made his point the way he would. But President Cesar Barack Obama has stated himself by calling her express his condolences. When asked by Human Events, it should follow her lead and take a partisan attack to Charlotte for the Democrat National Convention, Washerwoman Schultz said she had no doubt they would, but that any message they would be fact-free.
Yeah, that's right.
Ding, 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 ding. Projection.
Watch out for that first step, Mac. It's a Lulu.
I don't know. I think maybe that's where he goes, I may be crazy, but I'm not the best.
I don't have.
They had it. I don't know what happened to it.
I'll have to look, though. You have a lot of sound bites that I haven't gone through.
You need to. I used to have,
I need to bring back.
I need a toilet flush sound.
I like this one for the fluky fook bitch.
She can't do it.
Hi, I'm Professor Chaos, and now this puny world will bow down to me.
Yeah. Oh, she's got a button to push. I know it. I can smell it. Button. Push button.
It's almost imperceptible the way they gain their ground. They steal an inch just to take a mile every time you turn around. They assassinate our liberties and cause me sleepless nights. Every time they pass another firearms law, they assault my Bill of Rights. As they plead for public safety and they press on towards their goal, I say the Brady Bill is a stab in the back in the fight for gun control. 'Cause I'm a fight to keep alive freedom in the Bill of Rights, native born American, who's gonna rise and take a stand, draw a line in the sand, hold the line till kingdom come. So if they ever try to legislate, send the troops to confiscate before the dirty deed gets done, somebody's blood on down the street might run. If they ever try to come and take my gun, no, they better never try to come and take my gun.
Okay, thank you, Call Clang with K.com. And of course, that means it's time for the Second Amendment report from Examiner. A member of a gun dealer family jailed since last August for conducting alleged sales to straw purchasers has had her bail release delayed due to procedural documentation requirements. Gun Rights Examiner has learned. Terry Reese, wife of Deming gun shop owner and Rick Reese, and mother of co-defendants Ryan and Reese, granted bail on February 24th, provided a property appraisal title search would be completed to secure her bond. Column reported on February 27th. The spokesperson, who gave their side of the story in a February 28th follow-up report, confirmed Wednesday that Reese has still not been released. We are still providing documents, the judge's spokesperson explained. We thought we provided everything that was needed. When we got to the U.S. Clerk's office, we were advised there were other documents the clerk's office required. We were supposed to have been informed today of the balance of documents the clerk's office in Albuquerque required. 1:50 p.m., I got a call from the clerk's office in Cruces. They're still waiting for the call from Albuquerque, the spokesperson continued. There is no bed available for her yet at the Way House in Albuquerque. The spokesperson elaborated. She cannot go there until there is availability for her. We do not know when that will be. She is still in Otero County Prison Facility. Also, the spokesperson added, Remington's attorney advised me the judge denied her motion for reconsideration for bail for him. In related news, retired attorney Marjorie Ruart, 75, the mother of Rick Reese, was yesterday to a 1-year term of probation, a $250 fine, and 10 hours of community service for her misdemeanor assault conviction. Federal prosecutors requested that she serve 30 days for her actions on September 29th. The elbowed and shoved Sun News reporter Ashley Meeks. Las Cruces Sun News reported yesterday. Oh, wow. She elbowed a news reporter. Lock her up.
Well, it's worse than that.
They should have broke his jaw, then maybe...
Talking about the collateral damage that's going on because of Fast and Furious. This is one collateral damage. Anytime, babe.
No, we don't have any beer.
But that's why I'm glad that story, because this is really important. Why isn't there standing up for her? Federal people prosecuting them. Why are the federal people putting them away?
It was a federal sting. And, of course, it's BS because they told them to sell the weapons. They complained that they told them to sell it to them anyway. Now they're in court over it. They're coming after this family. And I remember the original story when I reported on this, and they're coming after them for a reason. More along the lines of who they are, anything else. Yes, they're those crazy patriots.
Okay, but a judge is sentencing them. They're not even getting a trial.
That is a trial, dear.
I know, but they should be having a jury trial, and jury note should tell that federal judge to go scratch.
Well, then they should have requested a jury trial. But right now, they haven't had a trial. There's bail, isn't it? Except for this Marjorie Reese Stewart, who's 75, who was sentenced to probation for a year. I'm telling you, I'm getting to the point where I think if you die without a criminal record, you're not worth a crap. You must have did everything wrong to never, ever get a record from this kind of court for something. I'm telling you, the way things are going, if you just do the right things, you're going to be in conflict with your local law enforcement. You're going to find yourself in front of a judge. It's getting worse every day, and it's going to be a time where it's just everybody's going to have a record, except the ones that don't. They're you. All right.
This is important.
So there was no bed available yet for her at the halfway. She cannot go there until availability for her. We do not know when there will. She is still in Otero County Prison Facility. Also, the spokesperson added, Remington's attorney advised me the judge denied her motion. Oh, I did that. Oh, sorry. We're on to federal prosecutors requested that she serve 30 jail for her actions on September 20th. She's 75 years old. This is how bad the government has gotten. This is the federal government, federal prosecutor. This should have just went away. The federal prosecutor would do something to a 75 like this. Put her in jail for 30 days for elbowing a news reporter. Don't most people just punch him in the face? Was it Geraldo got his nose broke on camera? What she did was elbow him, for God's sake. They were after the family to trying to crush him. The family spokesperson offered a very different account. She was talking to a friend at the hearing. The reporter stood in front of her with her back to her and started asking questions of her friend. She took her thumb and 2 fingertips and started to move her by touching her shoulder blade. Told her, "Excuse me, you are being rude." She moved her to the right about 6 inches, and the reporter moved herself away. Thereafter, she filed an assault battery charge against her. Defense attorney Sam Brigman said they could not warrant a jail sentence. The article continued with Brigman's contention, I am disappointed that the government be appropriate to put this 75-year-old woman in jail. I don't know what purpose that would. Another defense attorney, Jason Bowles, whose law firm represents son Ryan Reese, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, R-Y-I-N, Ryan, shared exclusive comments with the Examiner on the ordeal of the entire family. This case raises troubling issues of government secrecy, severe government ineptitude, and misconduct, i.e. Operations Fast and Furious and Gunrunner, scapegoating, i.e. trying to create alleged crimes along the border for gun dealers to divert attention from those botched operations, and denial of basic due process, since Powell told his correspondent. Article notes, although a principle of our Constitution is the presumption of innocence, Ryan Reese and his family have been treated by our government as if they have already been proven guilty and convicted. They have had their store in inventory and assets, which they built up over decades, seized. Their homes have been literally sacked, and they have been locked up and denied bail for 6 months, all before any trial or determination of guilt or innocence.
Okay, now they just said about her, they wanted to put her into jail, but she's already been in jail. They've both been in jail this whole freaking time.
Right.
That reminds me
and
of...
the judge just gets away with that by going time served.
But that's being freaking England in the 15th century.
That's our system, perfect or not. And it's pretty close to the British system. Where was I? Oh. Just reminded This Is America both concluded, people share basic due process and fundamental human rights, including the presumption of innocence and right to counsel. It is even more appropriate to remember these fundamental constitutional precepts and the accuser, the ATF, against border gun dealers around the same time frame when it is really cases of serious misconduct in its failed operations of Fast and Furious and Gunrunner. Gunrunner was over, Fast and Furious replaced it, where it allowed thousands of guns to walk into Mexico and into the hands of drug cartels. It bears reminding that this is America. Citizens have to process rights. The government has not respected those as regards to the Reese family. No, and they did with Ramos and Kevin when they railroaded their backsides in the prison. Yeah, it's out of control at all? Clues? Inklings? Federal government is out of control longer than the federal government is now the national government. We're a republic. I know you don't like to hear that. It's fact. When majority rules, it's a democracy, not a republic. All right. From Newsmax. She's looking at me and twiddling her thumbs. Why are you twiddling your thumbs? She's literally twiddling her thumbs.
That story really upsets me because that's how easy it can.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no recourse.
Well, you have some recourse. You're screwed. You just are. If you afford a good attorney, you're screwed.
And it wasn't designed that way.
If you can't afford a good attorney, there goes your money. Either way, you're getting screwed. When you go to court, no matter what happens, you're getting screwed. I know some places they say if you win, no, since criminal court, there's nothing. The system, when it comes to this way, is part of the problems, but it's the best system, so there's nowhere else to go that I know of. Nothing's perfect. People aren't perfect. People are involved. End of problem. Let's solve for that equation.
We're doomed.
Next. State sovereignty. State sovereignty. Subliminal message From Newsmax, Republicans have strengthened the pro-gun rights portion of their party, including a new unlimited bullet capacities in guns. In a defiant response to criticism of recent mass shootings at a cinema and an Arizona Congresswoman's gathering. The Storytell platform, approved this week by GOP convention goers who nominated Mitt Romney for Presidente, also endorses stand your ground rights for gun owners. Concept gun bearers don't have to retreat if they feel a public place. Drew national attention after February's fatal shooting of an unarmed Florida teenager by a neighborhood watch volunteer. And let's not put in there, Newsmax, that while being attacked by said teenager, Republicans traditionally embrace gun rights in their perennial party platforms. The one approved this week went farther than those of 04 and 08. Gun control advocates see it as an audacious calls for firearms restrictions after people in Colorado last month. Another gunman killed 6 people in Tucson, Arizona early last year. Gabrielle Giffords, then a Democrat congresswoman holding an outdoor meeting, bravely wounded in the Tucson assault. What did all these assaults have in common, Susan?
Free zones.
Nobody had a gun. That is, always go to the most common denominator. That's our problem. More guns are the slugs. Scares people. No. You know what I've discovered? Everything politically that's the citizens of the United States of America is good for them. Okay, gun control effects of penalizing citizens, blah, blah, blah. We oppose legislation that is intended to restrict our Second Amendment rights by limiting the capacity of magazines.
Read this last paragraph.
Gross, president of the Brady campaign to prevent guns, said that by making these changes, Republican leaders have put themselves in touch with their constituents. So, ladies and gentlemen, did that put you further out of touch or in touch with the Republican Party when so radical as to say the Second Amendment already says we can do whatever we want?
It's going to be the mantra of the Democrats through this whole election.
It's their fault because they do things. See, I would put fun things in there like because the Second Amendment already says so. We're going to do this because the Constitution already said so.
But that's going to be mantra now, the progs, as you call them. Everybody's out of touch with everybody else.
Yeah, touch. I'm out of touch with them. I've tried getting in touch with them, and unless you want to actually touch them, it's not worthwhile. Zoom. All right, moving on to C from nowhere. What? She's hammering on me. Holy crap, Ollie, Susan, you were supposed to tell me.
Mine says 51.
All right, I got to get out of here, folks, for Red State Talk Radio. Tonight we're on the Halls of Valhalla Radio Network here on blogtalkradio.com/Halls of Valhalla. Such the Uncooperative 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Get yourselves. Monday, Halls of Valhalla Eastern Time. Tuesday, Spin This at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday, the Halls of Valhalla p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday, the Uncooperative Radio Show at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, back to the Halls of Valhalla with Loki and Tyr at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday, last but not least, Founding Truth, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we can be heard rebroadcasted on redstatetalkradio.com. Check the schedule. It changes from time to time. You can hear and download all our shows at uncooperativeradio.com. That said, this has been the Uncooperative Radio Show. I'm your host, Brian Bonner from UncooperativeBlogger.com. You're listening to UncooperativeRadio.com. Say good night, Susan.
Good night, Susan.
And we're out of here.
built this city.
You didn't build that.
We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city.
You didn't build that.
We built this city on rock and roll.
That's the reason I'm running for president, because I still believe in that idea. You didn't build that. You didn't build that.
You're listening to Ghost Fighter Radio.